David. Ana is ambassadores a Cordelia, Garangate Archias, Milibuicas Asser Firkin Polcha, Darship Romans, Mamma Van Kela, is it Sana Toy Tash the Lum, Tom McWinnef, Anna John of Asser Kurtshot, Lithuania, agus Alcohores, Mila Mawicas, a coalition ambassador, agus Lesson Fuilet of Correlech, Asat, na Holovacain at the Vileg Janov, con Whitney, con Clor, a Curly Kayla, agus Big Clor Iantak Agin. It has been just a great pleasure, Minister, Ambassador, and dear friends and colleagues who are travelling with me to be here in Lithuania. And I have already, as I said in Irish, thanked the Ambassador and his staff for the preparations for my visit. It has been a very valuable visit to, I came from Latvia, which was a very important visit too, because and I think the importance of the Baltic-Nordic relationship to Ireland, the new circumstances in which we find ourselves, will be ever more important. I do want to agree with the Ambassador. Sabine and I, when we do these visits abroad, it's always a great pleasure to meet the Irish community. And it doesn't matter what size the community is, they are all important. It's the case of the Irish family, na Seronig na Herin is Cuma Conwilshid, no Somalia, no Argain. And that's very important. We've had a very valuable visit to Lithuania, two meetings, a private meeting and a meeting between officials with the President this morning. I've had just a meeting with the Parliament and members of the committee, with the Speaker of the Parliament and members of the committee. And tomorrow morning I'll have an opportunity of meeting some people who will represent, of course, Enterprise Ireland and Board BIA. And I do want to thank all of those who are building business links, those who are building academic links, and those who are living and making their life in Lithuania. And it's a pleasure to meet you all. It's my first time visiting this building, which of course is a very historic building. And the literary cafe downstairs is the origin of the discussion and the discourse that led, of course, to the case for freedom in Lithuania. And I think it reminds us, maybe when we've finished all the council meetings and we're finished the meetings of the Commission and all of the rest of it, to realise what we owe to cafes in Europe. I think that certainly from an intellectual point of view and from a spiritual point of view, the cafe life of Europe is probably one of its most distinctive, most hopeful and most idealistic moments. So this building is a very historic building, and not only from downstairs, but as I came up, the Irish ambassador who saved the signage of them created a new art. It is very, very impressive. I do want to say that it's been a very moving visit in a number of ways, because of course people have, of course Lithuania, Latvia, as are celebrating both freedom and, if you like, the sustenance of freedom, and then the recovery of freedom in some cases. I've had an opportunity of talking to them about how we have set about our own centenary. We're about halfway through. It begins with the lockout. It moves its way through the beginning of World War I, 1916. We're now moving into the period, of course, of the 1918 election. We've already been talking about the anti-conscription league, which brought people together. We have, of course, celebrating the suffragettes who made significant gains in relation to votes. And we move on then, of course, to the War of Independence. And after the War of Independence, the tragedy that I believe was the Civil War. And then we move on to the founding moments of the state. We have, of course, 1919, which is the democratic program of the First Dáil. And it's very, very interesting that Ireland was always international in its outlook, because the First Dáil's programme was issued in 3 languages. It was issued in French, Irish and in English. And of course then later on in the 1930s there's a big argument about it, but the first version possibly of the 1937 Constitution was possibly presented in Latin. less, we'll say no more. I think that I want to just to wish, I'm delighted to meet Ambassador of your family and to meet so many young people. So we've got Gragas Bana, the Holy Hair, the Tini Studio, Erin Gongas, Akora, and Edinioka, Agus Tastunaka, when it should chant of us, in Lithuania. More and more we are finding as well, we have 36,000 people officially, Lithuanian people with us in Ireland. The embassy describes it as 80,000. So more or less during today I've been settling for a figure of around 50. So it's to keep not to have to contradict each other. But they're all making a very great contribution. And it's very interesting as well because there are about 40 schools that are teaching the Lithuanian language and culture throughout the country. I think there are about 3 in Dublin. And it isn't a community that is ever asked or suggested to them they must ever forget the memory of their own culture, their homeland. Rather they're encountering a new culture. And it is my hope that all of you Irish as well, in many cases, you represent a great coming together of people who are effectively on the edges of 2 different seas, the Baltic and the Atlantic. And it's been a great pleasure to meet you all. Sabina, as a mille buikas,